Hour 2 Overdrive continues, powered by FanDuel, bringing you everything from the opening line to the final score. Mike Johnson here in a few moments. His reaction to Game 1 last night. Game 2 tomorrow night. We'll start looking ahead to that. We got a couple of other Stanley Cup playoff games tonight. Confirm or deny will continue later in the hour. But we wrapped up the previous hour talking about the O-Dogs dressing room and your claim yesterday that it was in immaculate condition.
Get ready to hit pause, Joe, from the bridge. Like, you stop it and tell me what you see.
Right here, pause. Look at this first impression, okay? If you're listening, this is why you got to PVR the show or find us on YouTube, because the first impression, there's 3 belts, 4 ties sitting on the ground. Like at first, right when you walk in, there's stuff on the ground. Those are just
casualties, man. When you have that many ties that go around the thing like that, they just sometimes they slip and they go down.
Okay,
that's
I'll grant
3
you that.
ties. You guys are acting like this thing's a pigsty.
Dude, this is the opening credits, man.
3 ties, though. That's just what catches your eye when you walk in.
Okay, roll along. Let's see what else is catching people's interest. There's, I don't know, a hanger.
Okay, there's a Leaf jersey over there for some reason. Look at this
doesn't look
scene.
Immaculate over there.
Look at that
pile
scene.
of stuff on the counter.
There is. Look at this place.
What is that? Like that's the first thing I noticed. I'm like, there was a pile of garbage on the counter. I don't know what that is.
Like that's a disaster.
No, it isn't.
That's an absolute disaster, dude. That looks like a dorm room filled with there's 19 and 20-year-old pigs living together.
Anybody in this business understands that you need like knick-knacky stuff. There's like makeup, there's hair gel, hairspray.
Drawers there? Don't you have drawers though?
No, that's a Geppetto desk. Like that is the lowest of low.
Okay, two-part question. First question, does the sink work? Second question, have you ever used it before?
Yeah, I brush my teeth before I come up to Overdrive every show.
Okay, that's good.
All right, fair enough.
You got some plumbing in there. That's a good sign.
But then, here,
and here's the thievery. Look at the thievery here.
Yeah.
Gatorades, like that's got Trade Center written all over it.
Yeah. Duffy did a Pepsi commercial, and I just grabbed that fridge and I just looked around. I'm like, nobody's taking this thing. It's going right in my
just wheeled it in there.
All right. Okay. There you go.
It's a 5.5, maybe a 6 out of 10. That's
here's what I'll do. Here's what I'll do. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, I'll do a once-over. It's amazing because Kerry Gendron has gone in there and just said,
passed out.
No way, man.
Passed out.
I'll go in the next day, and it looks like it's like it's just spotless, and everything's organized. And I'm like, oh, my God, this is like for a celebrity. But then a week later, I just seem to just mess it up. I'll try to do a Kerry Gendron spinoff.
Do your best, because Kerry is a magician. But I have spoken to I have seen Kerry around there, and she's like, I'm going into the like it's hazmat suits, and it's a full preparation.
She's got the COVID mask on.
Yeah. And like the original. Like the B12 mask.
Yeah, whatever those were.
Those things are
holes
serious
on the side
business.
of it. Yeah.
Anywho,
N95.
N95, that's what it is. She's rocking the N95 in there. All right, we'll get that thing spotless, and it's all good. MJ will join us here in a moment. So the Leafs, 5-4 win last night. Matthew Knies with the winner, which I guess the answer is the Knies goal is the most important one of the night. But there's a part of me that thinks Willie getting on the board 30 seconds into the game may have been the most significant part of it all. And
he set a tone. It was a tone setter, man, where it was like, yes, the goal wasn't a great goal from Bobrovsky, but it just kind of gave them – it's like everybody could take a deep breath and say, maybe this is not going to be one of those nights where we're grinding and fighting for every inch of ice on the forecheck. Because if you break down the game, they created – and Florida Panthers do not want to give up any ice in the neutral zone. One of their main staples is they want to force you to dump the puck. That's a pre-scout. It's not news to anybody. And they found some stuff to do with skill plays in the neutral zone. But guess what's going to happen tomorrow? It's like party time. That is over because those guys are going to say we didn't play our game, and you're going to get our game tomorrow. They don't want to go back to Florida down 2-0, man. No way.
No, that would be a big, big benefit for the Leafs. And if you're the Leafs, you got to go out. You can't just say, all right, we got game one, and you guys are making adjustments, so whatever happens. The Leafs have got to make some adjustments for tomorrow night.
Agreed. I think there has to be. But, a lot of it will stem on, and it fairly or unfairly, as Joseph Woll, if he starts, he's got to settle in and play his game and just show the team, hey, I played 40 games for you guys this year. I know how to stop the puck. That's the biggest thing. The team has now gotten comfortable with Anthony Stolarz here down the stretch, the way he stops the puck, the way he plays the puck. There is going to be a slight adjustment. Even the communication between defensemen and the goaltender. Stolarz, MJ can speak to it too. Mm-hmm. Stolarz is very, very vocal. So, Woll doesn't seem to be as vocal in the net. That's a slight adjustment that you're going to go to on the fly here.
Yeah, that's a good point. Woll had a turnover behind the net last night in the third, too. That was
it's a lack of communication because you hesitate where, Stolarz goes, hey, I've got a really strong forehand. I'm going to wire this around the glass, and we'll take the fight up near the blue line.
Here's Mike Johnson, our TSN hockey analyst, joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Johnny, everyone else is giving their opinion on the Sam Bennett, Anthony Stolarz play. Where do you stand on it?
I think O and I sort of fleshed it out last night, and I think O made the point that carried the day. And my first thought was I wasn't going to say he's going to get suspended because I wasn't sure about that. But I wasn't going to say he's not going to get suspended either because you need to sort of to piece together, in the crease, on purpose, injury. It really comes down to, was it hard enough, and can you prove that blow was the one that caused him to get ill and leave the game? And I think the uncertainty about, maybe the earlier shot in the head, and more likely what O was talking about, it just wasn't hard enough. And it's kind of a tough way to say it when he left, and he obviously was feeling very unwell. It just wasn't hard enough to warrant it. So I'm not surprised. I think Sam Bennett is a master of knowing how to do dirty things and not get caught or not cross the line or not be suspendable. He's done it half dozen times in his career, different instances sort of like this, and he's very good at it. Part of what makes him so good as a player is he's a tough guy to play against. Not surprised. Was it on purpose? Yes. Did he mean to bump his head? Yes. Was he trying to rattle him? Yes. Do I think he was trying to injure him? Probably not. He was probably just trying to get in his kitchen, bug him a little bit, bump him, whatever. And it obviously did more than that. But I'm not stunned that was not a suspension. It probably wouldn't be. I think O made the good point. It just wasn't hard enough.
Johnny, in watching that, I don't know how you guys were in studio. Hayes had a different view because he's in the building, so we're all experiencing it differently. For me, how everything went down was the most perplexing part of it for me because – we can look at the actual forearm, elbow, whatever contacted his head, and we can make a decision on that. But he gets up and plays, and then he goes through a TV timeout, and then he goes the second one, and then there's vomiting, and then you're hearing, I don't know who's tweeting it out. I think it's Chris Johnston. You're hearing he's leaving on a stretcher. You're like, everything's delayed. If all that happened all at once, then I think we're sitting here with a different thought process. On Sam Bennett, on maybe a potential outcome. But because it was so spaced out, I'm still perplexed about it. I just don't. How did you guys react to hearing that he was stretchered out and then, them picking up the viz of him puking on the bench 2 TV timeouts later type of thing? What was your reaction to all that?
Well, we were stunned because the conversation we were having was, will the concussion, we just assumed he got pulled. Which can take 3 or 4 minutes, right? It might take a couple whistles. Message gets down there. There's a stop in the play. He gets pulled. And you're wondering, will the protocol take him to the end of the second period, or will he come back with 2 minutes left or something? That was sort of the conversation. And then we were talking about, well, maybe if he gets to the end of the second and the score is still 4-1, you just let Joseph Woll finish it up and let Stolarz rest and don't even worry about it. And so we didn't think, anything other than that. Like, when will he return? He's obviously going to be okay because it just wasn't that much. That why would you think he wouldn't be okay? And then when you saw the images of the vomiting and everything else, like, okay, I think we've all experienced or been around people who've had concussions or different injuries that have forced them to be sick. And we sort of were always warned growing up about how dangerous it was. If anyone ever was sick after being hit in the head, it's a scary situation. You got to be really careful. So you hear that, you're like, okay, that's not out of the question. But the stretcher thing and the hospital thing, again, we've all been around players that have had their head bell rung badly and not had to go to the hospital. So it was obviously pretty serious, Noodles. I think that was sort of that it didn't happen in real time, but it obviously ended up being quite a serious ailment for Stolarz to work through.
Hayes, I don't know what you thought seeing it like originally going down, but my first initial thought was just can't have nice things. Can't have it. Like they look good, and it looks like they're going to make a difference, and they've got it. And then that happened. I'm like, can't have nice things.
Yeah, I see it the same way, and that's what leads to the anxiety about Joseph Woll going in. It's more layered with the fact that it's out of necessity because of injury as opposed to performance. Where, like, you look at in Edmonton, everyone was like, I can't look at Skinner anymore. I love Pickard. He's Grant Fuhr to me now. Like, this guy's one of the all-time greats because he's not Skinner. That's not what's happening here. Stolarz played so well down the stretch. He played so well all year. He played really well against Ottawa. He wasn't tested a ton last night, but for the most part, he looked locked in and dialed in. So that is, you're right, a Leafy type of thing. Finally, you're up 1-0 in the series. Everything's all good. And now Woll comes in. But at the same time, another thought I had last night is this is an example of how warped this sport is, how crazy it is, and if you're not a fan of it, and you look at this and say, "This is that's such an insane statement." What I'm about to say, but Bennett doing what he did last night makes you want him even more on July 1st. Like the Leafs would have walked away hating him and thinking, "I got to sign that guy," and every other team in the league would be thinking the same thing.
Dreg said it on the panel last night. He goes, "Tree's going to be calling for a suspension today for him." He's going to be calling him on July 1st going, "I need you on my team," type of thing.
And and Leaf fans don't want to hear it, yet it's true, Johnny. Like that's what makes him Sam Bennett, is he knows exactly what he's doing. He straddles the line. And also he's good enough to be on Team Canada at the Four Nations.
Yeah, the reason he's going to make $9+ million is not because he lights up the score sheet, right? Mm-hmm. I don't think he's ever had 60 points. I don't think he's ever had 30 goals. He's going to get paid $9 million this summer because he's good in the playoffs for production and he's good in the playoffs in physicality, or however you want to describe the way he plays. You know, that element of making it hard, making it unpleasant, occasionally making it so that players don't finish the series that they start against Sam Bennett's teams. And yeah, we said it last night on TV. It's a compliment when you say this guy is, you know, he knows how to be sort of greasy, dirty, chippy. In the playoffs, this is kind of what you do. It is a battle of attrition. And you do try to hurt guys, and you don't want guys to get injured for their life. But if I can hit cleanly or quasi-cleanly and separate his shoulder so he misses 2 more weeks and can't play in the series, that's what I'm trying to do. Even me, like, if, you know, not a uber physical player, not a super dirty player, that is your mentality, and he takes that and executes it really well. 100%. I mean, every team will watch this like, man, that's greasy. But we love it. We love him on our team. We hate him when he's not, and that is, you know, in many ways the ultimate compliment to an NHL player.
Johnny, I know you're not going to be on the panel tomorrow night, but if you were and you were asked the question by Duthie, what do you foresee happening in Game 2 tonight? Obviously, being tomorrow, what would your thoughts be on? How do you play it out? What do you say? What do you see going down in Game 2? Well,
I think related to Bennett, 0. Like, I just don't, like, you know, is Max Domi going to go whisper in his ear? I'm like, oh, do you want to fight? Perhaps, but I don't think the Leafs go out of their way to engage him physically. I don't think the Leafs go out of their way to run Bobrovsky. I don't think the Leafs come out swinging, trying to protect Woll, you know, taking cross-checking penalties if people get around him. I just don't think, that goes down that road. Not because they're soft, not because they won't, not because they can't. It's because they're coached with 5,000 penalty minutes. They're like, no, that's not how we're going to win. You take this series into the gutter, Florida is way more comfortable down there than you are. Toronto's got to try to play exactly how they played in the first and for most of the second, where they were quick out of their own end, in on the forecheck, finding rush plays, being creative. Their best player, especially Willie, was just ridiculously good last night. And go at it that way. Hurt them on the scoreboard, and also trust, and this is one other part I would watch for tomorrow night's game, trust in the scrutiny of the officiating tomorrow night, because anything borderline will get called tomorrow. So don't be the team pushing the borders, because I think tomorrow night it'll be a tight standard, and any sort of extra punch, any elbows up, any cross-checks in the back that might have been let go in game one or had this not happened will not be let go. So that's sort of what I'll be looking for in game two.
Well, with that in mind, though, I was concerned where it was going when they called Domi on that cross-check in the first period.
Ridiculous. That was ridiculous.
A pathetic call.
Crazy call.
Yeah.
Crazy. Given what you see in a game, that wouldn't be a call, Hayes, in literally a 10-year-old game.
No.
It was embarrassing.
Ridiculous.
It was an awful call, man. And furthermore, watching it, Marchand had already cross-checked a Leaf. Yeah. And then Domi runs into him. And then afterwards, Marchand goes back and cross-checks another Leaf. Afterwards. And yet Domi's the one that goes to the box. And I mean, in the end, it didn't matter because the Leafs, they killed it and they found a way to win the game. But I was impressed by Brad Marchand last night. I thought he played really well, man. And in the third period, he was dancing and skating, and he looked like himself. Like we saw that in Game 5 in the Tampa series. And everyone's focused on Bennett, and everyone's wondering what's going to happen with Tkachuk and Barkov. And Marchand further down the lineup, up against a third or fourth line or a third pairing, man.
Love it.
That has the potential to be scary tomorrow night.
Yeah. I mean, he got 2 second assists.
Well, yes, he did. Now, the second one, he drove the play. It was like a one-man.
Yeah. He circled the wagons. He got to the top, and it slung over to Balinskis. But, yeah, for sure. That line is good. That Lundell, Luosterainen, and Marchand line, that line is good. And I think when I talked about who the Leafs would match up against them, I said I would probably put Lawton against them. Or Tavares, because I don't think you want Max Domi against them because they're too good offensively. Lawton's line didn't have a great line in their own end last night. They were kind of running around a little bit. They were victimized. They're going to have to be out there and be a little bit more trusted. But listen, that's why they got him. You're taking a guy who was, 60-something points this year in 75 games or 70 games. So, not quite a point a game. You're taking a guy who's basically a point-a-game player in the playoffs, and you're dumping it on your third line? Against those kind of matchups,
luxury,
and that kind of responsibility, that is a deep, deep luxury to have, and it should be good. It should be a difference for them.
Yeah. Johnny, what do you need to see from Joseph Woll, as far as to make you feel comfortable? Just a couple saves early, dialed in, that's a tough predicament to get put in. I've been thrown in for some mop-up duty.
But, when he did well in the second. Tell me, how hard is it to get I get it. To get dumped in with 10 minutes left in the second, the guy's puking in front of you, that's weird.
Yeah.
Especially when you just had a conversation with him 3 minutes prior, high-fiving, winking, and smiling. You think he's okay. So any thought that you might be going in will have left your body. You're going back to spectator mode. But he was good in the second.
Yeah, I thought so too.
He had the full intermission, fully get engaged and warmed up. And the third was where he maybe wasn't quite as sharp as he wanted to be. So I don't know if I can put it on the tough situation to get into the net because he handled that part of it pretty well. I guess to me, Noodles is, confidence, whatever, making saves. Two things stand out to me where he's not quite as strong as Stolarz or hasn't been this year. One is that he's a bit smaller than Stolarz, and I don't know what he's supposed to do, but when there's a lot of traffic in front of him, sometimes it looks like he either lets himself or is unable to see pucks. He doesn't work to find it quick. He goes down, and he's relatively tall, but not quite tall enough, and they go over his shoulders or his elbows or whatever. I'll be watching that. Can he fight to find pucks? Because there's going to be a lot of traffic around him and in front of him. Stolarz can just kind of go down there, and he's a bit tall. He's 2 inches taller. That it works out. And the other thing, you guys just touched on it, he doesn't play the puck anywhere near as well as Stolarz. And does that hurt Toronto trying to get out of their own end?
Yeah, and that's a big part of what Florida does, right? Dump and chase and make it difficult and get in on the forecheck. All right, Game 2 tomorrow night. We got Game 1, Oilers in Vegas tonight. Let me throw these duos at you, and you tell me if the Oilers win this series, it's because which of these three duos got the job done? McDavid and Draisaitl, Nurse and Bouchard, Pickard and Skinner.
I love that Pickard is the starter. It's amazing.
That's why I have to include Skinner, because he might play.
Yeah, I would bet he does play. I bet it's more likely than not that Skinner gets in this series.
Yeah,
because Vegas going to win some games, and Pickard maybe the balloon will burst. To me, it's the first two. It's always the first two for them.
Okay.
They are the first and last and most important part. Yes, the goalie's got to be good, of course. But do I think Pickard's going to go and steal them games 2-1, getting outshot 40-25? I do not. Do I think Bouchard and Nurse have enough to lock down and play 2-1 games? I do not. They'll be good. They'll do what they do well, and they'll have some moments where they don't do it as well. What will win Edmonton the series is if whether they're playing together or apart, on the power play or late in games, Draisaitl and McDavid do what they do in the playoffs, which means if they play 6 or 7 games in the series, okay, I'll throw this right back to you, Hayes. I'm putting the over-under for points by those two in this series, however long it goes, at 18.5. It's crazy, right?
I know that. I know it's insane.
12 combined games. I'm going to average a 1.5 for them. What are you going to take?
Yeah, I guess you got to take the over. I mean, the over. You might pay juice on that.
18.5?
But combined between the two of them.
So that's in 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, one will get 10 points, one will get 9 points. Yes, that's what they do.
I could see that happening. I mean, the thing about it too, lost in all of this, defensively the guy struggles, but often. Isn't Evan Bouchard second behind Bobby Orr as far as points per game in the playoffs?
Guys, are we not factoring Vegas is not going to fold up like an Artie Urbe suit and just crumble out to the ground?
I'm pretty sure I saw Matt Boldy and Kaprizov run roughshod all over them.
And the Kings were really good defensively, and they couldn't stop them.
Kings were the second best team in the league defensively. Kemper was a Vezina finalist, and they couldn't stop them. Right?
Darcy Kemper allowed 5 goals once this season.
Yeah.
It was 4 times in that series. That's the one thing. Now LA I think did crumble, and I think that's why there's Rob Blake is contracted, and and I think they're looking at things hardly there. But in the end, Edmonton can score. The biggest challenge is can they keep it out of their net consistently, and that comes back to it. I think you're right. I think Johnny, you're right. They're going to get lots of points. Doesn't mean they're going to win games. It just they're. Draisaitl had 4 goals. Was that against Vegas a couple of years ago? He had 4 goals in one game. They lost 6-5 or 6-4. Remember that?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's right.
Yeah.
But that would be the over. He does that again. We're just talking about points.
Yeah,
right? Points accumulation, because I think they had 20. What do they have? 21 combined in the first round in 6 games.
Yeah,
that's rock star stuff, man. That's what you expect out of these two.
But they do it every single series.
That's right.
What the thing is about these two. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I guess I can't see Edmonton winning without those guys being amazing. I can see them winning with Bouchard and Nurse sort of being average. I can see them being winning with Pickard and Skinner being, okay. They won't win if those two are just okay. If they get 5 points each in a 6 or 7 game series, Edmonton will not win.
Yeah.
So they have to be great, but the good news is that they almost always are.
That is the truth, man. If anyone deserves the benefit of the doubt, it's those two. They just always show up for the moment, and they always continue to get better and better and better. And you might contain them at times, but stopping them completely, it just doesn't seem possible. Jets starting tomorrow night. Connor Hellebuyck. If let's say he has a great first 2 games in Winnipeg, does that mean anything to you, or do you have to see him perform on the road?
I think that means something. It's a step in the right direction, because even though he won all 4 games at home, he probably played well in 2 of them. So it's not like he was airtight, even in Winnipeg. But it will be fascinating, Hayes, to see if somehow winning a first round series for the first time in a few years gets over a mental hurdle for him, even if his performance didn't.
Well, let me
the driving force.
Did you hear his comment?
Let me play
today?
that clip. I want to play this. I am fascinated by this clip.
I don't know
if I don't know if I love it. I'll be honest. Here's Connor Hellebuyck earlier today on them getting through the first round.
I definitely felt a little bit something there. At this point, it's the pressure is kind of falling off. The weight of the world's off my shoulders, and that has nothing to do with anyone else. It's just the mental grind of that series. That being said, in that moment, it was like a second chance for me. I just got to go and play my game and do what I do best. I don't need to do everything. I just need to play my game and do it the best I can and bring it every single night.
So he was asked about his performance in overtime, but pressure's off. Wait to the second round, man.
I think you're taking the comment wrong. I think what he meant to say is, I just needed to get through that round to find some confidence. I don't think it's not possible to be involved in these games and not feel any pressure now.
Yeah.
I think he didn't use the proper wording.
I think, the longer context of it, too, I don't know how you feel about it, Johnny. Like, I think he's trying to set up and go, now I've got an opportunity. He used the word second chance, and I think that's what he should be clinging to, going, we got through this, and I didn't have my goods. But I did feel my goods the last couple periods or in overtime. Let's see what I've got against Dallas, because he's going to need it. Let's be honest. Like I think Dallas is a rock star team, and you're getting Robertson and Heiskanen back. It sounds like they're going to be back. Like those guys are, they're top players. That's the crazy part. So they're going to need all of Hellebuyck. So he better be, the weight of the world better be off his shoulders, because he better put that team on his back, because I don't see Winnipeg winning without him being a rock star.
Yeah. I think Robertson practiced on the line today, so I think Robertson's playing game one. Heiskanen maybe not. To me, guys, and athletes do this. I don't even fault them. If I were to put a polygraph on Connor Hellebuyck and said, "Do you think you played well in the first round?" He'd say no if he wanted to pass the polygraph. And I said, did you feel some pressure about trying to play well there, and did it affect your performance? He'd say yes, because it did. If I were to ask him, will there be more pressure in round 2, 3, or 4, or round 1? He would say 2, 3, or 4. What he's doing is like sort of positive self-talk, setting him, like saying it out loud, even though he doesn't really believe it, but it sounds good. Like, you know what? That was the hard part. That was the hurdle. That was the mental barrier. I'm over that now. Now I can just breathe and play and be free. I don't know if he really believes that. I probably think he doesn't. But I think it's good to say it. He's trying to, get himself into a good frame of mind, as opposed to saying, man, I struggled in round 1 again, and it's only going to get harder against this team, which is probably the truth. But you don't want to hear that. You don't want to hear it out of your own mouth or anybody else's. He's just positive self-talk, even though it's probably not accurate.
All right, you guys are selling me. And, the idea that, listen, I'm sure he faced an enormous amount of pressure because of the way he performed in games 3, 4, and 6 to have an outing. You guys goofed on me, but I said it. I thought he owed his team perfection in overtime.
He did. He did. Legitimately.
And I think those comments, that might be what he's saying. Like, man, I was freaking out if I let up a bad goal. My team would, how can they look at me again?
Yeah. I mean, just called you out for the timing of it. That's what it was.
I thought it was mandatory. What are you going to do, make a prediction after the game? You got to call your shots before the game, man.
You did call your shot.
I called my shot. He owed them perfection in overtime. All right, Johnny. Good stuff, buddy. We'll do it again later in the week.
All right. Next time, I'll be coming to you from the shores of Sweden.
Yes.
Stockholm on Friday. So I am off tonight to Europe.
Okay.
I'll talk to you boys in a couple of days from there.
I love it. Say hi to Sid and Nate Dogg for us.
Sid, Flower, listen. They got an all-star team over there right now.
What a scene, man. That's going to be an awesome tourney. That'll be
Matheson's over there now. The whole gang has said, well, Sid's going, I better go.
Yeah, the power of Sid.
I would do the same if I was on the fence. I'm like, sure, I'll hitch a ride to this bandwagon. Why not?
Go find a gold medal with Sid, man. You can't beat it. All right, safe travels. We'll catch up later in the week.
Cheers, guys.
There's Mike Johnson joining us here on the Maple Toyota Hotline. Drive the built-in Canada fuel-efficient, fun-to-drive Toyota RAV4. Gas or hybrid models available. Visit mapletoyota.com.
They are going to tear that tournament apart. Can you imagine Nate McKinnon?
Oh, angry Nate McKinnon.
Angry Nate McKinnon. There will be players on the other team going, who the hell is this guy? They're going to shred that tournament.
You're right.
Canada should,
You're right.
There's going to be some little Euro guy that comes back to the bench and says that guy should be in the league about the year older than us.
Exactly.
He's playing in the wrong age group
with a tinted mask or tinted visor.
Yeah.
And you're right.
Like, they are going to tear apart some countries. Like, tear apart for fun.
If Nate's on his game, and there's no reason to believe he won't be, yeah, he's going to put on a couple performances over there that are going to be absurd.
Like 5 goals
Yeah.
for Sid, 5 assists because he puts it on a tee for Sid. Like, that's what we're talking about.
I agree. You got to play the two of them together.
Yeah.
You have to. All right, we'll continue with some confirm or deny. We got Craig Button coming up in just over half an hour. Overdrive continues, TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, don't forget, TSN 1050 is giving away tickets to see the Leafs take on the Panthers in round 2 down at Scotiabank Arena. And all you have to do is listen to us on the iHeartRadio app for your chance to win them. To enter, download the iHeartRadio app, create an account, and listen to TSN 1050 for at least 15 minutes straight. You can enter twice per day, so listen to First Up and Overdrive. And the more times you listen, the better your chances of winning. First Up is going to be calling our Game 2 winner tomorrow morning. So tomorrow morning, make sure you tune in, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. for First Up. All right, confirm or deny continued. I'm going to go off the board here, Joe, from the bridge. Well, not necessarily. It's on the board, but we saw the New York Islanders storm up the lottery board last night.
Yep.
And, I think you bring up a very, very convenient conspiracy theory where, they canceled the All-Star game. The governor of New York wrote
publicly shamed Jerry.
Shaming Jerry. They did a completely different version of the lottery than they ever have.
Yeah, I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, how is this even normal?
So it's
Billy Daly, start flipping the cards like the old days.
Yes, that's what it used to be. Bill Daly with the card flip, and they were back, doing their thing with, I don't know, Philip Pritchard was back there or something. And this was very, very different, more modern, I would say. But the Islanders, they barely missed the playoffs, and they storm up, and they end up with the first pick. And here's my confirm or deny for you, that the New York Islanders should consider where James Hagens grew up in consideration for the first overall pick. And what I mean by that is Hagens grew up on Long Island,
right?
Presumably a big Islanders fan. And he's supposed to be a top 5 player. Coming into the season, he was the presumptive first overall pick.
Dude, that's got to be the dumbest thinking. I'm totally denying this. You take the best player. Like, what are you going to say? Oh, this guy can bring some people in the building with his 100 and family and friends every night?
But isn't Schaefer ranked number 1?
Yeah, he is.
Yes.
Yeah.
So then, I was talking to Craig about it last night. This guy's going to be playing 25 minutes a night for you. Can skate, can run the power play, first up on the penalty kill. He's a first up defenseman. Power play, penalty kill. Big shifts, offensive zone. He's a stud. Can't miss it. Can't pass him up.
Yeah?
Well, I mean,
it's not like Hagens is projected to go in the 3rd round.
Right.
Again, I think Craig
5.
had him mocked going 4th. Was it 3rd or 4th or 5th last night? Here's what I'll say.
If your scouts say the difference is not that great, it's like a coin flip, then go ahead and do it. But I don't think your scouts are going to be able to say that.
They may not, but my concern would be the owner steps in and goes, "You're telling me I can get a kid from around the corner? When do you ever? Who is from Long Island that plays hockey in the NHL?
Why don't you do a Brian Burke? Do a Brian Burke and draft 1 and 2 or something like that, and get them both.
Now you're thinking.
Yeah.
Now you got something cooking here.
Yeah, you trade up to make sure that you get him, but you also take the Schaefer kid. Like, there you get creative. But that being said, how are you going to get, the number 2 pick or whatever? Like, you're going to have to trade Barzell. To get it, type of
whatever
thing.
It is, it might have to be the 3 pick. Who knows?
Well, I think you go with the best player available, but I do hear what you're saying. But when the rumor of the owner getting involved, that's Nail Yakupov.
Well,
right?
exactly, and the owner's going to make the call in the end.
You give an owner a bottle of wine and some input on draft exercises.
Saying,
you got a dangerous.
Well, it's not even
there.
about that though. It's his buddy is friends with his uncle, and James Hagen's a great kid, and he grew up an Islander fan, and you just know the stories are going to come out, right? Like, oh, my dad's favorite player is Brian Trottier. Like, it's just you can feel it coming.
Yes.
And
it
doesn't mean it's a sound practice, but it also doesn't mean it's a remarkable reach. Like, again, coming into the season, Hagens was supposed to be the first overall pick. That doesn't mean anything. Things change, but it's not a reach to the point where you're like, who is this kid? Like,
he's not supposed to ranked at 17.
No,
you're
exactly.
Going to take him 1, but I don't know. Like, we're going to ask Craig on this scenario because he's
I know what Craig's going to say. Craig's going to say you cannot think that way, and he would be right in that thinking.
Yes, you take the best player available and who you think is going to have the most impact for your organization moving forward.
Yes.
But
what I want to ask Craig is, if you're the GM and your owner gives you a call and goes, "Hey, I heard this Hagens kid's from Long Island," how do you approach that topic? What do you say? Because you know what he's sniffing out.
Right.
You know the owner's like, "Hey, I heard this guy's from Rockport or whatever. That's awesome. That's interesting. Is he ever in the Hamptons? Like, I'm in the Hamptons."
Yeah.
I don't know.
You just say, "Oh, that's great, but he's not half as good as the other guy that we're taking."
That's, I guess, what you have to do. Yes,
well,
you got to pounce on pumping the tires of somebody else.
But I guess my also question would be, who the hell is the owner talking to, because they don't have a manager right now, correct?
Oh, that's true. Lou
that was
Lamoriello's
Ken
not
Morrow.
there anymore.
That was Ken Morrow that I recognized from when I was with the Islanders. Ken Morrow is their director of, I think, scouting or director of player personnel. He's the guy looking into the Zoom, throwing the hat on, all fired up. Like, they don't. There's
Get
no
Mike
manager
Milbury
position.
back in there.
Oh my God!
Maybe Mike Milbury
Put
is
Butch
looking to run the
Goring
show.
there. Put Butch.
Yeah, Butch
could
Goring
say,
would be good.
Yeah, thing is they've got to get that sorted out very quickly. And you keep hearing Ken Holland, you keep hearing a lot of other names that are being bandied about. Rob Blake's job has to be filled. Now it's Lou Lamoriello's job that has to be filled. There's a lot of job vacancies throughout the league.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, this is the other thing. We're focused on the playoffs, and rightfully so. There's got to be a lot of business stuff happening outside here soon. Coaches being hired.
Yeah.
Players.
And like the awards are being announced, right? Last night they announced the Norris, or not the Norris, the Calder nominees. Yeah. And it's Hudson and Celebrini and Dustin Wolf.
Rightfully so. Yep. I think all of us would have agreed on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
You wonder if the Russian would have been in there, had Torts, maybe
not been there the whole season.
Yeah, like maybe he gets 35 this year, right?
When Torts left, man, Mitch got turned into Pavel Bure.
Dude, he was doing Michigans on penalty shots after practice when Torts left.
He couldn't wait for Torts to get out of there.
But I mean,
man, was he happy.
Those three deserve to be in the finals for sure. Like, I mean,
Hudson's going to win it, man.
Yeah.
I think Celebrini will get votes, and he should.
And so should Wolf. I mean,
absolutely. Wolf was phenomenal as a rookie goalie.
That Calgary team had the most amount of points to miss the playoffs, I think, in modern day. Like, they had 96 points.
Yeah, that stings, man. They were right there.
Yeah.
They were. Crazy. I don't think they would have given Winnipeg a better push, though, than St. Louis did.
No.
I think in the end, St. Louis was the more formidable foe, for sure, if you're Winnipeg. But, yeah, Calgary had a great year, and a lot of that was Dustin Wolf. There's no questioning that. But I can tell you in Montreal, they're thinking Lane Hudson wins the Calder this year, and Ivan Demidov, just give it to him now, because he's a lock to win it next year. That's why you play the games, though, man. Well, exactly. Like, I'm taking the field. I loved what I saw at Demidov the first couple of games, but you give me the field on rookies, you have to take the field.
Yes.
He's one player. He's a kid. He's still wading his way through the league. He's still trying to figure it all out. He's not going to be running on adrenaline anymore.
What if this Easton Cowan shows up next year and has a year?
That's an interesting thought. Yeah, that's an interesting thought.
Every team's got an up and coming, or not every team, because I think there's teams that have traded away a bunch of players that their cupboards are bare. Mm-hmm. But there are teams that have what they would be perceived as a grade A prospect that could make the jump next year.
He can't go back to junior, right, Cowan?
No, he's got to go to the American League, I believe, next year.
Yeah, I think he's eligible to play in the minors, which gives them some flexibility if he's not immediately ready.
Do you think, like, London's in the OHL championship against Oshawa?
By the way, we never talk about the London Knights, what they do.
Shocker.
Yeah, no kidding. Every single
They're in the finals?
London,
what?
every
Shocker?
single year.
Oh,
they just go to the finals every year, man. Like, that program. And I know people think that behind the scenes there could be monkey business. I don't know what the hell people think.
I know what people think. I just don't know what's actually happening.
It's just incredible winning, though. They just it's new group of players win the championship. Like, it's crazy, man.
Well, and same for Oshawa, man. Like, Oshawa has been a really good program for the last decade, like forever. They've had some of the great junior players. Well, they had Bobby Orr, they had Lindros and Tavares. Like, those are three of. I don't know. Those three of the 10 greatest junior players ever. I don't know. I mean, they're great players. clearly, and in junior. I don't know exactly the stats Bobby Orr put up. I'm pretty certain they were pretty good in Oshawa. But Lindros and Tavares were like crazy how good they were.
Right.
But they won the OHL championship and the Memorial Cup like a decade ago. That's when Sorelli was on that team, and they were in the OHL final a few years ago. And they're back in it again this year.
What's the craziest? Like you just mentioned, like some of the greatest junior players ever. I can throw a stat line at you, and like your head may blow off. Like here it is: 63 games played, 76 goals, 136 assists, 212 points, and 101 penalty minutes in 63 games. 212 points.
Are you asking who we think that player is?
Well, I'm just saying, like
Green.
No, it's not. But
is that Eric Lindros?
He played in the West. No, it was Rob Brown.
Robbie Brown.
Robbie Brown.
Wow.
He was ridiculous in junior. Ridiculous.
Yeah, there's
like he played in Kamloops. Like they had a program kind of like the London Knights. It was just everybody who came through Kamloops. It's Darcy Tucker. It's Aginla. It's Niedermeyer. It was
Shane
Robbie Brown.
Doan.
Shane Doan. Like that. That program for years was kind of the gold standard out west.
Yeah.
Like you're talking about like top 10 junior players I've ever heard of. Like Robbie Brown would be one of them. Like that stat line is insane.
Man. Be a great list. Like it would be. It's very difficult to put together comparing all the different leagues because the Q. Like you go look at Mario Lemieux's QM JHL stats. It's disgusting. Like Pat LaFontaine went up there. I think LaFontaine he had 100 goals. I'm pretty sure in a season. In the
Which
queue.
is here's Mario Lemieux had played 70 games, 133 goals, 149 assists, 282 points, and 97 penalty minutes.
Oh.
He had 133
Could you
goals.
imagine being like a walk-on, like 18-year-old that gets stuck out there with Mario Lemieux?
D-man with bad wheels.
Just horrible wheels and no vision or anything. And Lemieux steps over the boards and is dancing
insane.
that night. Like Mario, those stats are crazy. Pat LaFontaine's stats were nuts. If you look those up, I'm pretty sure he played in the Q. And it was here. Let me look. I'm looking at it on the fly.
Yeah,
he was in Verdun. He had 104 goals, 130 assists, 234 points in 70 games.
Well, dude, I thought 45 goals in the O was in 66 games a lot, but to throw a hunch up,
Ray had 108.
Yes, he had 108 in Brandon.
Yeah.
So there's three guys we just named.
And everybody talks about those days as being the toughest hockey that's ever been played in the world. Something was going on there for guys to be ripping home 100 goals.
Well, LaFontaine had 10 penalty minutes the whole year.
Well, he had the puck the whole time. And people were taking penalties on him. Like you go back to even like late 80s. That's when I was playing junior, early 90s. Like I won top goalie. My goals against average was 3.74 or something ridiculous. Like a 4 spot a night was nothing.
Nothing, man. He stood on your head. Only gave up 4.
Yeah. Had a good night. Gave up 4.
It's so true, man. Just totally. And it's still like that. Like kids in the OHL are not putting up like a .930 save percentage. Like the goalie. We always you talk about it. It's the latest position to develop. It takes longer.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's a grind.
Man, oh man.
Anyway. Yeah, someone writing in that, I knew this. I should have known this. The Generals were in the final last year against London. So we got a back-to-back final.
Wow.
And London
awesome.
naturally won it last year. We'll see what comes of it. All right, Craig Button coming up. And Craig McTavish will join us. We'll get to our best bets as well. Overdrive continues. TSN 1050 and on TSN 4. All right, we were talking about the OHL finals between the Generals and the Knights and brought us into a conversation about some of the great junior players ever. And we mentioned Mario Lemieux and like the guy's numbers. 282 points. He had 133 goals. And that year he set the all-time CHL record, including a 61-game point streak and 11 points in his final regular season game. That was Mario. He capped off that season with an 11-point night. And the beauty of this, because you're looking at it like Gretzky's obviously in it. Gretzky played one season in the Sioux when he was 16. He had 182 points. as a 16-year-old in the O.
Guy Lafleur, 130 cookies in 62 games. That's who. Like 132 cookies in 62 games.
It's amazing, and what I love about these stories is it's so Canadian because the idea that you like so many people want to see them play, and it's like you got to see this kid. Like and I remember that. Oh, you told me about your history and your dad saying it too. I remember my dad brought me to Oshawa. He's like, we got to go see this Lindros kid play. Yeah. We got to see him.
It was before for me. He was like 14 or 15 years old, not even drafted yet, I don't think.
Right.
He was filling rinks around Toronto, like playing for the Detroit CompuWare, and then he was with St. Mike's, and then this guy, everyone in Toronto had to go see this monster just killing people and scoring 5 goals a game.
I know, it was crazy. And that was Gretzky, that was Lemieux. It's a special thing. And it was the same thing with McDavid. I went to see him play when he was in minor bantam. He was playing a year up, and he was in the OHL Cup. He was playing for the Marlies. And we went to see him at, I don't remember where the game was.
And he was
Herb
dominant?
Carnegie, I think it was. I think it was at Herb Carnegie Arena.
Was he dominant back then, too?
Oh, it was unbelievable. And it was the same thing. It was the buzz throughout the city. It was like, this kid's coming. You got to see this kid play. Like, you're not going to believe it.
Who was doing that back in the day before your time, Hayes? Was Michael Pekka was like that, too. He was like a...
Yep.
Him and that team, the Toronto Red Wings team they had, Michael Pekka was highly regarded. People were going to watch him play.
Yeah, like you'd get kids, exactly. You'd have parents, like people that weren't even affiliated with the league. They're like, I got to go see this kid play.
I went and watched Connor McDavid when he was playing in the OHL Cup.
Yes, so did I. Yes, I know. It's amazing. The guy, that's the beauty of the game. That's the beauty of the sport. All right, final hour coming up. OverDrive continues. TSN 1050, soon to be up on TSN 2.